So what if I told you that you have, right now, the most advanced technology in the entire universe sitting inside of you? I mean, a personal owner's manual for health and happiness. But most of us, we've never even learned how to read it. Well, today we're going to open that manual. We're going to learn how to fine-tune the guitar of life. This quote from our source material really just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? Imagine having this absolutely incredible internal hardware, all the software, a complete operating system from the day you were born, but you never actually booted it up. Today, we're going to turn on the computer. Okay, so to start, we really need to understand why so many of us feel stuck. Why does it feel like we have the grandest car in the universe just sitting in the garage collecting dust? This first part is all about digging into why we so often live unconsciously, just on autopilot. And this metaphor, wow, it just perfectly captures our modern life, right? We are so focused on everything outside of us, our phones, the news, our endless to-do lists, that we're completely disconnected from our own inner guidance system. We're pretty much driving blind. And this chart shows us why we feel like we're on autopilot. According to the science in our source, a staggering 95% of our daily life is driven by subconscious programs we learned when we were kids. We're just playing the same old tapes on repeat. And that's why it so often feels like we're on a treadmill, just going nowhere fast. So ultimately, it all comes down to a choice. We can keep living on remote control, just reacting to whatever life throws at us, or we can decide to become the programmer. We can choose to install new software and consciously design the future we actually want. And that right there, that's the transformation we're going to explore today. All right, let's get to our first set of practical tools. See, before we can even think about upgrading our software, we've got to fine-tune the hardware. This section is all about taking back control of your body's chemistry using two of the most powerful levers you have: food and sleep. And here is why this is so incredibly urgent. 60%. That is the percentage of calories in the average American diet that comes from ultra-processed junk. And get this, the source notes that for every 10% increase in that number, your risk of death goes up by 14%. Our food has literally become one of the biggest threats to our health. So how do we fix it? Well, this source offers some beautifully simple common sense rules. The great-grandmother rule, that's a fantastic filter. Stick to the perimeter of the grocery store. That's where the fresh, real food is. And this last point is it's revolutionary. Studies have shown that simply switching to a real, whole food diet can be more effective for treating depression than medication. Food is powerful medicine. But, diet is only half the equation for tuning up our hardware. Quality sleep is when the body actually does the repair work. Elite athletes know this. They treat sleep like a performance-enhancing tool because that is when the body recovers, rebuilds, and gets stronger. And this right here is where all connects. See, a lack of sleep doesn't just make you tired. It absolutely tanks your willpower and makes your brain's reward centers scream for the very same junk foods that mess up your body's chemistry. It creates this vicious cycle of poor sleep and bad food choices that is just incredibly hard to break. Okay, so with our hardware getting a much-needed tune-up, it is time to upgrade our internal operating system. This section moves from the body to the mind. We're going to explore some powerful techniques to consciously reprogram the subconscious software that's been running our lives for way too long. So the first software hack is called quantum breathing, and it's really just the practice of conscious breathing through your nose. What's so fascinating is the contrast here. While Western medicine often said, there's no difference, ancient Eastern wisdom actually called mouth breathing the breath of death. They understood that behind our breath is a universal life force energy. And this just captures the essence of it so perfectly. This isn't just about getting more oxygen. It's about connecting to a deeper wisdom. The answer to so many of our problems, our stress, our anxiety, our confusion, it's just waiting for us in the stillness, right behind our own breath. And here is another incredibly practical tool for reprogramming our stress response in the moment. It's called tapping. The technique involves tapping on these key energy meridian points. And what that does is it sends a calming signal directly to your brain's fear center. This can literally lower stress hormones like cortisol on the spot, rewiring that fight or flight response and telling your body, hey, it's okay, you're safe. All right, in our final section, we're going to see how all these pieces fit into a much bigger picture. See, these hacks aren't just isolated tricks. They are part of a larger framework of universal laws for living a harmonious life. The universe's instruction manual, if you want to call it that. The first and maybe the most foundational law is the law of silence. In a world that is just constant noise and distraction, this principle reminds us that the real answers, the real clarity, the true wisdom, it's not found out there. It's found when we quiet all that external chatter and learn to listen to the silence within.
I love this way of looking at it. It reframes silence not as just an absence of something, but as an active form of communication. So if prayer is when we speak, then silence is when we create the space to actually hear the reply. It turns it into a real two-way conversation.
Next up is the law of kindness. Our source material suggests that kindness isn't just a nice behavior, it's our fundamental nature. It's the very foundation of all life. And in a world that feels so divided, kindness is the bridge that lets us meet in the middle and truly see things from another person's perspective. This quote from the Dalai Lama just powerfully underscores that idea. Kindness isn't about any single dogma or group. It's a universal principle that cuts across all boundaries and becomes a spiritual practice all on its own. And here's the thing, and this is maybe the most important part of this whole explainer. None of this works if it just stays as a cool idea in your head. Just like learning to play an instrument, these laws require daily practice. It's through that consistent daily action that we really begin to fine-tune our lives. So this is the transformation we've been exploring. It's the journey from living on remote control to becoming the programmer, from having a dusty car stuck in a garage to driving the grandest car in the universe, and from being an out-of-tune instrument to playing the beautiful music of a finely tuned guitar of life. We're going to end on this one last really profound idea, a theme that comes up again and again in our source material. The separation we feel from the world, it's an illusion. The power, the wisdom, the creativity of the entire universe actually exists inside you. We just need to remember it. So the owner's manual is officially open. The instructions are right here in front of you. The only question left is, what's the first small, practical change you're going to make today to begin tuning the guitar of your life?